Oh, what's that? Rebel has a complete disregard for his frontline forces? Who would have guessed? So you know he'll be commanding you to march into a possible nuclear firebomb. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are back with another episode of Mobile Suit Gundam IGLOO 2 Gravity Front. The worst of the Gundam so far, in my opinion. Sorry.
Okay.
You know, I've been critical. I've been hypercritical of Gravity Front specifically because I really liked the Hidden 1 Year. Well, actually, I'd say I really liked Apocalypse 79. I rather enjoyed the Hidden 1 Year War, but Gravity Front has been a disappointment to me for reasons that we got into before. Well, I think the first thing we need to do is go into the board because I know you're like thinking about it right now, so better to let you go off before I distract. I was going to say I also have no real board changelog. No good reason. I did all the work. I just didn't list the changes. Kind of the same way that I said before, like with the Hidden 1 Year War or Apocalypse. I just said I added 12 characters. Just kind of did that here. I don't know why. It just feels like every episode is like 3 or 4 characters, and it's almost not worth mentioning. Especially here in Gravity Front. Again, maybe it's just me shitting on Gravity Front, but with Gravity Front, it's like 2 out of the 3 characters introduced get killed, and it's like, okay. The pointlessness of existence. Oh no, Legends, don't step in and defend it or anything.
No, I'm saying it's interesting you put Barberry and Lewis under IGLOO Apocalypse, even though they're supposed to be...
No, that's just a listing of all the shows together.
Oh.
If I was going to do something like a separate listing, I'd have like a... You know how in Seed, Destiny, we have the different boxes? So there's these lines separating the groups. Yeah, I didn't do that. This is just indicate that this is all MS IGLOO, and these are the 3 shows of MS IGLOO.
I see.
Because you might also notice, because I noticed, but never corrected it, that in fact they're not even in the right order. So it should be Hidden 1 Year War, Apocalypse, and then Gravity Front.
Also, I was like, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it's just to let you know that these are the shows in this box.
And you had New and Bitter and Kycelia in blue, I guess because they don't show their faces, so...
Kycelia is the one giving the speeches at the beginning of the episodes. So that's her voice, so technically she's in it, but not present.
Yeah.
And that is a person's name who gets listed. Yeah. And I did the very tangential looking up the name just to see if it is somebody, and it is somebody. So nobody I know anything about, but is somebody. So I thought it might be somewhat spoilery in that I put his name out there, but you shouldn't be looking him up. I'm not looking him up. No. So for the sake of just, hey, this is somebody that apparently is going to show up later, now we know to keep an eye out. Or when we do finally see who they are, boom, we know, hey, this is what he was doing when, right?
Yeah.
Because I've got a note about another character that we actually do know who also gets mentioned. That, hey, now we know what they were doing when. Except this is a character we have images for. It's just, I didn't put them there because, I don't know, maybe I should. Maybe I should have put a blue box. I'll let you know when we get to the notes what I'm talking about because it's a note thing. Were you saying something else about interesting something?
No, that was it.
Okay.
The fact that these are 2 blue boxes and don't have a face, although we've seen them before. I guess you're using only images that appear in these things and not using older images that would break, I guess.
It's something I do more on the shows that I'm watching by myself where I'm keeping track of like families and whatnot. Like when you have like half brothers or something in a show and it's like, okay, well, I know who your mother is. I don't know who your dad is. I don't know who either of your dads are. So, but I'm going to put that here because that might be plot important later. That sort of thing. So yeah, blue boxes are just my, I don't know who they are yet thing. Or as you pointed out, Kycelia is a voice. That dude just gets mentioned. There's in fact another dude who gets mentioned who I probably should have taken a screenshot. but it would be like in the way that Legends of the Galactic Heroes, we had people who only showed up in books. It was like, it's a screenshot of a book. It's like, okay. Yeah. All right, well, moving on from that, then, we do actually have a comment that I'd like to get to before we get into the notes.
Yeah.
Danan from Patreon, Mobile Suit, from the episode Mobile Suit Igloo Apocalypse, Spirits Returning to the Cries of Thunder. There's a few possibilities on who is aboard the Guazine-class ship, Great Degwin lookalike ships, that we see during the retreat of the episode. Actually, I had erased a note that I had written to ask you before I get to the second half of this. Do you have any ideas?
I mean, it has to be one of the... Well, no, it could be not Caecilia, not Garen. What's her name? The little girl, the baby. But the daughter of the only surviving member of
yeah. Well, here's the thing. Family. You're on the board. You don't actually need my help. You can just scroll a little bit over. My problem is I'm also forgetting too, because she has a name that reminds me of a ancient religion that I can't remember the name of.
Yeah.
It starts with an M. I know that.
Minerva. Yeah.
So the name of a ship and other Gundam processes. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
she could be being evacuated.
More likely, it would be her mother if that was the case, not her specifically.
Well, I mean, it was her mother, her ladies in waiting, which she had two of them, and Minerva.
Were they getting evacuated from
all four of them? Yes.
No. You didn't let me finish. I was saying, no, to Aberquo. Were they getting evacuated to Aberquo? Because they wouldn't be there otherwise.
No, they were being evacuated to the moon.
Yeah, so they wouldn't be here because we already know the Granada fleet is still at Granada.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they're at Von Neumann, because no one mentions Von Neumann anymore.
We saw the Granada fleet taking off to reinforce Aberquo.
No, we saw the Granada fleet taking off to reinforce the Jotunheim. We never saw them go anywhere because there's no connection between the two. Because after that, it's the Cusper? What the fuck is your name? Cuspin. I was so close. After that, it's the Cuspin fleet that takes control of the Jotunheim in the defense of the E field of Aberquo. And there's no connection between the Granada events and Aberquo events. Plus, we do know that it is mentioned that Granada still has forces there, so I have to assume that Granada's fleet stayed at Granada. I mean, I'm not going to debate the fact that there might be forces from Granada that do go to Aberquo. I have to think that the Guazine ship does go there, because there's only so many Guazine-class ships, and we saw one at Granada. But if I have a future note about who might have ships related to them, and then how many might be left at the end. But I think that one has to be accounted for at Aberquo, so that one at least had to have gone there. But the statement has also been made that Granada has defenses, and Munzo has, or Side 3 rather, has defenses as well.
Yeah.
So your guess was?
Minerva.
I'll admit, ahead of time, I already know who it is because I had to go back and watch because I actually thought they were spoiling us with the next comment, but instead of just calling them a spoiler, I went back and actually watched the end of the movie, so I just had to be sure.
Yeah.
There's only one option I can name since you've already watched it before, and that is Char. We see him leave Aberquo in a Guazine-class ship at the end of the third film of the 79 movie trilogy. You remember that?
I remember he killed Caecilia, but I don't remember that part.
Exactly. I didn't remember it either, and that's why I was so hard up on going, didn't happen. Did not fucking happen. But then I was taking notes about the commands that Caecilia and Garen were giving during the Aberquo fight, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm here anyway. And then I went to the movie, so I actually wrote a note about this. I had to go back and rewatch the movie from the moment Char shoots Caecilia in the head with a rocket launcher, because I did not remember this at all. It, in fact, happens after Amuro rejoins the crew of the White Base. The core fighter is abandoned and goes off flying past the moon. And then the final music starts playing as the camera starts scrolling across space. It rolls over a red ship I'd never even thought about, probably because the movie seemed over and we'd started our discussion about stuff. And when the camera goes over the ship, there is a little black silhouette in one of its windows with a tiny little features that could be Char's helmet and his massive gun on his hip. Because, it hangs off it like a sword because it's so freaking long.
Yeah.
Though that would mean in his mad dash to escape, he changed back into his signature outfit in order to stand in front of a window in order for us to recognize him.
I mean, he was wearing a spacesuit, and I think underneath the spacesuit he would be wearing...
No, because remember, he got into his giant fight with Amuro with swords and everything. You think he's having this giant gun hanging off his hip at the same time?
Yeah.
Plus, then he still has to figure out where his helmet is and go put that back on. I have to assume he's in full garb. I don't remember off the top of my head now if he looked like he had the little, what do you call it? When he's wearing his full outfit, he kind of has this like little hangy bit that hangs off of his chest, like right about to here. Like
a sash? Like a sash?
Well, not to what I would consider a sash, more like like a little mini cape, but it also goes across the front as well. Well, he's got a mini cape too, yeah. So kind of whatever that is. And I don't remember if I saw that in the shadow. Like, I don't know if that was like foreshadowing or something, because it's like
he's wearing a poncho.
It's like like a little this, like on the size of my window here, this moving fast real quick. Like, I guess those are horns because he kind of got horns on the helmet. What is? There's a person standing next to him, which is why I assumed Danan here is like, there's only one option I can give. I don't know who the other shadow would be either. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense because for some reason in my head, I keep thinking Kycelia tried to get away in Iguazine.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, because obviously it's this giant green hunk of a ship. Because even when it goes up over the edge and all the Federation ships fire on it, it's still a giant green hunk. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Which didn't last long, so.
All right. Well, on to my notes then. I think our guess was that there were 3 Guazine-class ships remaining, at least by appearance in MS IGLOO, going into the Battle of Abaquo. I think that represents a command ship for Girin, Kycelia, and likely one for Dozel. The only time we ever saw Garma on one was aboard the Great Degwin, and since he never really held a command that high, likely never had one assigned to him. We know via IGLOO and the OG show that Kycelia had one. IGLOO alone shows us that Girin had one. I believe we see 3 ships in the last episode of Apocalypse, which would imply that Dozel had one that didn't go down around the time of his death, but persisted. We see one in the one of the Guazine ships crash into another ship during the fight and explode. I guess the consideration I'd never made was that the ship Kycelia tries to escape in isn't the Guazine that she rode in on.
No, it was smaller.
Well, no, that's the thing we just discussed before we went into the notes.
Yeah. In fact, I think it was the one that, ironically, the type of ship that Char was in, the one that had the super torpedoes on it, that we talked about being like nuclear torpedoes because they were very powerful. The spinning torpedoes.
I think I had actually, no, I had notes in the future. I had another note, like I mentioned here, that we see a Guazine. I think it was back when I went back to OG Gundam to figure some stuff out. Crash into another ship, so automatically know that one's gone. Anyway, another note. Big Rang is a friggin' beast of a mobile armor / carrier. It's almost 8 times larger than the RX-78-2. The one confusing thing to me is the idea that this thing was in development and being built for any amount of time before the final stand. Specifically because we know its job is to supply and repair mobile pods on the front line. But last episode seemed to imply that those bricks were more of a stopgap creation to field weapons on the front line as quickly as possible. Especially after being shown that they were being built with subpar materials. but the Big Rang had to have been in development and production long before the bricks were.
Yeah, but I think it may have been something that was, I mean, all this stuff is experimental. It might have been modified at the last minute to support the bricks, right? Instead of being his weapon on its own, it's like, okay, what else can we use this for? Oh, well, let's use it with the big bricks, right? It could have been a modification at the last minute.
Maybe. I don't know. That doesn't feel right. Like, seeing the bricks fly into its internals to get repaired and resupplied, I couldn't see, like, Zaku's and shit fitting in there.
Maybe for the Sakus, it could have been not have been the Sakus flying, but more like this would deliver like pots with weapons and stuff like that. So they get close, their arms give them like, refills, and they, I mean, remember the Sakus have hands, so they can slap in new ammo and stuff like that and fly off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It seems like you would just want a regular ass carrier for that, not like a thing that someone has to fly up your ass to resupply.
But I think it's because this actually is faster and also can provide a modicum of protection. The idea is that, carriers that we've seen are very vulnerable to being shot to pieces. So this can come in a do hot refueling or hot rearming. Oh, you're in the middle of a fight. You need ammo now. Okay, I'm going to send this. Not very useful, to be perfectly honest. Very expensive.
Well, I mean, it's useful specifically for the bricks.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't seem to fit any other model. Like, it had to have been designed around the concept of the bricks. Yes, I know they're called Ogos comment section. Bricks is just a better name for them. Literally, I mean, hey, it's the enemy. Throw the bricks at them. It just makes more sense. It fits. I hope someone comes along and finds out Ogos means bricks in Japanese or something. Just, Alright, went back to the OG show to trace the events of the Battle of Abakuo as they were related to Girin/Cassilia. Our IGLOO crew are defending the E field during all this time, the one field that never gets mentioned in the OG show. Because they reroute half of their vessels in the S field over the N field. Obviously, these are all cardinal directions. Caecilia's Guazine enters the E field. Girin reroutes it to the N field. Girin sends all N field fleets forwards as Caecilia registers a new Federation fleet moving in on the N field. Caecilia mentions a new enemy fleet being discovered in S field, which is, of course, White Base and its fleet. Girin comments that the Dolos forces, which have a Guazine present, will take care of N field. Dolos is almost immediately destroyed after Girin's death. Twanning says the Dolos fleet is destroyed, so I'd assume that Guazine is also lost. Halfway through the IGLOO episode, right as May arrives with Big Ran, the Dolos goes down and N field appears to be lost, even though someone orders the remaining fighters to protect it with their lives. Mobile suits start landing in the S field. Caecilia dispatches mobile suit forces to N field, is informed that 10 out of 25 enemy ships have been destroyed in S field, but are otherwise holding on. Char forces are sent out to the front line. Caecilia then concentrates mobile suit forces to S field. Enemy mobile suits land in the N field. Gundam breaks through the S field. Caecilia orders the enemy to be drawn into Abakuo to be picked off. S field and N field cease responding. MO is sent to W field, the only time the W field, I believe, is ever mentioned. Caecilia attempts to escape and is killed. Jotunheim sees a friendly fleet escaping through E field, Guazine ship among them. Funny enough, at the end of the movie, we only see the one ship, but here there are many all around it. This happens 10 minutes after communications with Abakuo are lost, and a "you are on your own" message is sent. Interestingly interpreted as a ceasefire, even though the Federation forces are still pursuing and attacking fleeing ships.
No, I have a question. I don't remember exactly. That's what I'm asking. Was the ceasefire distinct from that message, or was that the only message that was sent?
That was the only message that was sent, and everybody on scene seems to interpret it as a ceasefire. Because the message, I should have written down the actual message. The message is basically, you're on your own recognizance. It's the Abaco is not capable of command anymore. You are on your own recognizance on a ship-by-ship basis. And then the captain of the Jotunheim just says, "Oh, a ceasefire." It's like, it's not what they said. But even the, it seems like even the Federation forces in E-Field are like, stop for a second before then they go and keep attacking. And I was like, no, we got orders for a ceasefire. It's like, no, you really didn't. You're stopping for no good reason. You're on the, again, it is a ship-by-ship basis. Maybe a bunch of ships are ordering it for a ceasefire, and maybe some Federation ships are like, yeah, okay, sure. But it is fucking chaos.
Yeah. As per usual in these situations like this.
Well, I mean, we don't really know what the Federation side is like, command-wise. We know the official word is that there is no command structure on the Xeon side anymore. But who's really...
Sure there was some general or admiral had to take over from... What's his name? Evil...
Revel?
Revel, yeah.
You called me asshole. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I'm not going to call him the asshole.
Well, no, Revel wouldn't have been in command there because he was dead before the assault happened. So somebody already took over. But I'm saying though is we don't know, we know what's going on with Xeon Command because we're present, right? We see Gearin giving orders, giving orders. We see the assassination. We see Rocket Face, So we know what happened there. Did the Federation commander's ship survive? Is he still alive out there? Is he 10 out of 25 ships in Enfield got destroyed? Was he one of them? We don't know what's going on the Federation command side, so they could just be as chaotic. It could literally just be groups of people fighting groups of people.
But I think because of the way the attack is structured in, they react and expand the attack. I think it's not just people like, oh, attack over there. It's, there's a certain amount of coordination.
Well, no, we know there was a plan before they head in here. This is operation. There's a whole operation around it. So every ship could have a copy of its whatever plan they were going to do. But they could still be operating. They could still be operating independently. And I don't know about standing orders when it comes to one side's trying to ceasefire and the other side's going hard on vengeance. So at that point, it'd just be chaos. It's like they're trying to go that way, shoot them in the ass. The way Cadillac messages May as he's objecting to being sent out as the Big Rang's test pilot, it kind of feels like she blames him for her brother's death. I mean, she did call out the lack of maintenance on one of the AUGs when it failed to be able to swivel one of its weapons mounts, which causing the death of that pilot. It just, the way she turned to look at him in the camera with a smirk when she asked him to say hello to her brother if he should see him. Despite how the episode ends, very much feels like a vindictive move from her.
I mean, she's going through the motions of losing her brother, getting her senses back, and it's like she's now in I don't give a shit. I don't care who else anymore. Hey,
I mean, I know she gets over it by the end.
Yeah,
it's just in that moment. It's very much we make this guy die too. And then after she sees May kicking into action, clearly that's what the shaking must be. That she's getting out of the chair to go put her hair back up or something, Because he shows up day later in full makeup and everything.
You can't go to battle without your makeup. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Conceivably, there is an overlap where Char is getting back into his uniform and she's at the very same time. Both red outfits, by the way. Don't know if there are anyone in other Gundam media. The fuck does that mean? Don't know if they are. Sorry, that's what I just said. Sorry, I'm tired, and this was written while I was tired. Don't know if they are anyone in any other Gundam media, but the Argo we see getting repaired and resupplied is piloted by Joseph Dewey. I have to think they used the chance to put his name on screen for a reason, like a reference or something.
Yeah. Could be manga, or it could be a future show.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They showed us a name. I looked at it. That's the note.
Yeah, maybe if this character appears somewhere. It's like, yes, I was at the Battle of Abaquo. It's like, oh, hey, you watch IGLOO. Remember, he was at the Battle of Abaquo doing whatever he was doing.
I mean, to be fair, I'm going to remember characters in the future after the 1 Year War from if they were like, I'm be like, it's memorable that you were a survivor of Abaquo. More so, I would say, than Solomon. Definitely more so than Odessa.
Mm-hmm.
The ending of Apocalypse with May saying how he'd keep everything he'd seen like a lodestar, even if the Xeon flag disappears into eternity, really made me think of all those Starship Troopers propaganda segments where they showed off a member of the military that we knew as a character and asked the audience if they wanted to know more.
Want to know more? Yes.
But, like right there at the very end of the movie where we see Rico and his new troop. It's Sergeant Rico and, just Captain Inez. It's like, well, that seems like what we're doing here with May. Interesting thing I didn't notice when we originally watched Gravity Front, but when Barberry is being given his orders about retreating, Kolmata says they will retrieve supplies from the Matilda Squadron, indicating where and what Matilda was up to at the end of April, since we don't meet her in OG Gundam for 6 more months.
I mean, that was her job to resupply everything, so yeah.
Right, but this actually puts her in a position, like, I guess on the border of Spain?
No, they were in France at the moment.
No, sorry, you're not wrong. I'm not saying, no, you're wrong. They are in France, but the order is to retreat south by 2,000 kilometers, 200,000, I don't know, a lot of kilometers. And the next episode, by the way, Kolmata is a character. It's in both episodes, implying that this is the retreat that they're making. That battle happens, I looked at a Google map reflecting where the positions of everything were. Oh God, I probably have it written here somewhere, but it is in Spain where they're heading to.
Yeah, because there's 2 pockets. There's one that is around Barcelona, I think, that area, that upper neck of the Iberian Peninsula, and the other one is what will be Dunkirk, in the Normandy and Brittany area.
Donostia San Sebastian, Spain is where I put it. There's 2 different areas it could be based on where you're doing this very rounded neck of the curve of the peninsula, the sort of thing. And I put it more towards Donostia San Sebastian, Spain. But yeah, again, you're not incorrect. When he's talking, they are in France. By the time we get to where she would be in Spain. So that's why I said Spain, not France. And that's what I was talking about before with the board, that maybe I need to put a blue box with Matilda there, because technically mentioned. Although I don't know, am I making boxes for everyone who gets a mention? There, that helps you.
Donostia San Sebastian. Oh, okay. Let me see if I can see.
There's legitimately just like a town or a city, or I don't know, a township, like to the right of it. And I'm like, is it this one or this one? But I believe they're both in Spain, what I was looking at.
Yeah. It is on the, in Bilbao. Yeah, it's in the, well, not Basque Country. This is, yeah.
Well, remember, when I'm taking my notes, I've got the show open, and then I got a window open, like, to Google Maps. I'm like, this is like, right. But it was very close. But again, both of the places I was looking at were both in Spain, so it wasn't like too close to the border. Oh, it is close to the border, but
Navarra.
All right. Next note, though. As I said before, I'm rather unimpressed with Gravity Front, mainly in comparison to Hidden 1 Year War and Apocalypse. It lacks the element of getting to know the characters and watching them develop over time. It also has a single twist that is repeated so far 2 out of 3 episodes. Honestly, looking at Kolmata and his interactions with characters across both episodes, I wouldn't be surprised to find out by the end of the 3rd episode that he was really the Zeon Death God, sending out people as sacrifices to the war. Seems like a trite thing to do, so I suspect Gravity Front would do it.
Can't comment either way.
Yeah, I know. I just figured if it was true and it does happen, you would have laughed, and you did giggle a little bit. So I'm giving Gravity Front literally the lowest I could give it, and that feels like the lowest thing you could do. I mean, I will say, in the rewatch, the element of what was his name? The tank guy, starts with Y, saying that he was the gravity death god or something like that, out to kill a death god to kill a death god. It's like, oh, maybe I'm not right about this Colmata thing, because I'd written this before he says that, and it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm still right. Seems like a dumb thing to do, so I feel like they would do it. Well, I mean, among what? How many shows have we watched? Origin, OG. I am forgetting.
List?
Yeah. Let me zoom out here a bit. Doan's Island, I guess, technically, too. Yeah, I guess out of 1, 2, 3, 4 things, Gravity Front. Well, out of 6 things, you consider each one of the arcs of IGLOO separately, Gravity Front feels like the worst. But you can argue that OG Gundam is worse than Gravity Front.
No. I just don't. I mean, it's subpar in some situations, but I still like it. So putting it as in the worst, it seems,
Well, technically, something has to be the worst, right? Even among like gold tier narratives, right? The bottom thing is still technically the worst.
So relative, yeah.
I'm not going to say this is gold tier, though. Again, this is like if 2007 wanted to do its own version of the Twilight Zone based on, but not like a good Twilight Zone, like the ripoff shows of Twilight Zone, like that one that Henry Rollins hosted, like a Henry Rollins Twilight Zone ripoff in a CGI project from 2007. But they were like, I really like mecha, so let's make all of these twists mecha. Like, what if sci-fi Moby Dick? Let's put it nail right on the head and make it a big white Zaku, right? A big white Zaku, so everyone gets the message. And then when they have the tank commander who's obsessed, like Ahab, talk to his commander, and the other commander's like, you're really obsessed with this thing. Like, he'll just flat out say it. I guess I'm saying it's not fun. It's not a good narrative. It's like, I'm not invested. The most thing I'm invested is, maybe I'm right about how stupid it is, and Colmata is the Zeon death thing. Anyway, I'll move on. Literally, I said I wasn't going to keep going. I kept going. I've marked Bebel as dead on the board. He was an Izaku that got shot in the head, so I disagree with that. I don't think he should be dead. But in the end, he's also a one-shot character, so I'm not going to make a massive fuss about it. Other than to complain about it during an episode and then make a note about it and talk about it again in another episode.
Yeah.
I could make a bigger fuss. I'm just not.
It's a little thing. So you don't have to worry about that. Yeah.
Consistency. I prefer consistency. Another reason I'm super unimpressed with the Type 61 tank that we saw in the episode, and in general any tank in Gundam, is that its only real claim to fame is its 155mm double cannon. Back in Origin, and granted I didn't do this with you and Justin, but back when I was watching it with Griffin, I went over the different weapon types that were being pushed by Zeon and the Federation. Mainly the difference between the Zaku's machine gun and the Federation ships-based energy weapons that would later go on to be miniaturized and equipped onto the Gundam. In that, I had gone over how I slowed the playback of the Zaku test footage to 0.25 times speed so that I could count its rate of fire. Rate of fire, I don't know what I said. Rate of fire. At 8 shots per second, that clocks in at 480 rounds a minute. The caveat being that we only saw it firing for 9 seconds and have no idea what the clip size of the gun would be. if past IGLOO episodes have shown us anything, ammo carrying capacity isn't exactly a strength for the Zaku. I counted the Type 61's rate of fire from last episode, and it could fire 2 shots a second. 4 if you count the double barrel as individual shots. So a greater caliber at half the firing speed and lacking the ability to fire in as much of an arc as the Zaku. Because obviously Type 61 can only fire from here to here.
Yeah.
Unless you find a ramp, and in which case, from here to here.
Yeah, it's a lamp. It's the elevation of the barrels.
Right, whereas the Zaku can fire in any arm rotation you can figure out.
Oh, wherever it can turn.
Yeah.
Basically.
I said this to this. I didn't show the whole rotation of a track. I'm just saying any rotation of an arm. Technically, you've got almost 360 degree motion. So
usually just took both those arms. So
well, no, I'm saying that you've got elbow rotation and then you got shoulder rotation. But the thing is, you're still not 360 because you can't fire through yourself, right? The same thing of what's his name from Naruto, who has the eyes that can see everything. They can't see backwards through themselves. So technically, he still has a blind spot. So again, it's a worse vehicle, and its only claim to fame is a worse weapon system.
I mean, but it's also a legacy weapon system. I think the issue is that this is
the Type 5. Remember, this is the updated one that's still being produced. It's not legacy anymore. It is a currently produced weapon system.
I think it is currently being produced because it's the only weapon system that they have available before they get their mass-produced mobile suit. So it's better than nothing, right? It was supposed to be before the mobile suits came up. It was supposed to be the king of the battlefield. Then mobile suits came in. That's the name of the episode. It's become obsolete. But the Federation it's better to have them than have nothing, so they keep producing them until the GMs can take over. So,
well, to clarify, I'm not arguing your point. Your point is entirely correct. I'm arguing the semantics, I guess, in that it is a contemporary battle system to the point that the guy in the episode is saying how proud they are of it. This is the Type 5. It has been upgraded to be what it is now and is currently still being produced. So it is a contemporary battle system to the Zaku, just not good. Not a good one. Well, I mean, we've seen one Zaku take out like a squadron of these things, so...
Yeah, I mean,
before the 10th one took it out, so...
The only reason I think why Xeon tanks are viable is that the top can fly.
Yeah.
So they can attack mobile suits.
Well, just think about it, though. Gun. Your tank is effectively an anti-tank as well, in that the thing that can fly can't probably be shot by the other tank due to elevation. It can drop bombs on not the weakest part, let's say second weakest part of the tank.
The top is always the weakest.
Well, I would say the bottom is probably the weakest.
It's about the same protection, but
I would say you probably, I don't know. I would say you probably put more armor on the top of the tank because of, bombings and whatnot. You have people on the ground, like if you have infantry around, they might be trying to throw explosives, which is, I don't know. Is a thrown explosive more likely to hit the top of a tank or the bottom of a tank?
The top, because the bottom is protected by the tracks and everything else. So
right. Here's the thing: I'm taking into account a bad throw versus a throw that actually hits where it lands. But then, even then, if it hits the top of the tank and doesn't explode upon impact, it can fall to the ground, and then technically that's bottom.
No, because the tracks as the glass is a turret.
I'm counting tracks as bottom. Yeah. Damage to tracks is damage to the bottom on my purview. Like if this was one of those games where we have like firing arcs and everything like that, I'm counting bottom as everything from tracks and under. Side of the tank is from tracks up to whatever the ridge on the top would be, because most tanks have an upper ridge.
Tracks are usually tracked differently because A, most of them are on the sides, and B, they're considered part of the mobility. So if you hit the tracks, it will mobility kill, but not necessarily destroy.
I understand that they are on the sides, but they're also touching the ground.
Yeah, but you can't get... Never mind. This is
you can if you want to die. Literally, the
yeah.
guy yells at him at the start of the Barberry episode, "Hey, you want to become a hamburger?" I'm just saying that, again, the bottom undercarriage has a start, and if you, like, put a ruler out from there to there, the bottom half of the tracks are that. So the fact that the tracks are extension part of the bottom half of the tank. Say if I was to throw an explosive under there, it's probably going to blow out towards the tracks.
If that's the case, it wouldn't do much damage. You need something that punches through the armor.
I'm just saying, if you throw an explosion down there, the tracks are going to hit. The tracks are just an element of both parts of that, right? All right, well, my last note. Like I mentioned before, about names just getting tossed out that might be important, or from the manga. I pronounce it Noin. Noin Bitter is in charge of the ground mobile division, heading towards what looks like Donastia, San Sebastian, Spain. By the way, I keep saying San because we're watching a Japanese show. I understand it's probably San, right? Donastia San.
Donastia. Yeah.
That's not the part that I'm debating with you.
What's the part you're debating with me?
The part that I literally just described, the two different ways that I say it.
Okay. The name of the character. I was looking for the name of the character.
No, not the name of the character either. And I told you specifically, don't look up the character.
Because it's in the blue box. I was looking for the.
Okay, don't look it up anywhere else.
I'm looking at anywhere else. I'm looking at blue box.
No, I just had a whole conversation about the element of the town's name, and you're correcting me on the element that I'm not asking you to any questions about. Again, this is an element that you can't do stuff in a sideboard and hear me, I feel like.
No, it's fine.
No, because very literally I did ask you a question, though.
New and bitter. That's what you're talking about?
Nope.
I pronounce it new.
I was asking a question about any character or the board. Only reason I said anything about Noin is because when I looked up his name, Noin to your other self be true came up. So it's like, oh, they must be pronounced kind of the same. But you have no idea what I'm talking about with the town, do you?
No, I mean, I have the town right here. I just say it. What's the name?
Right, but you don't know what I asked you, do you?
How it's pronounced? Okay. It's pronounced Donastia. Donastia San Sebastian. Donastia San Sebastian.
Again, you keep saying the part of... Okay. The name has 3 different parts. I have said the second part of the name very specifically one way. Then I explained to you, when you apparently were not listening at all, that I keep saying it the way you would in a Japanese show, because san is something you say in Japanese as a
except
additive.
that's
yes, I know, and then I explained that it's probably san or something like that. I can't remember now. I'm so flippant at the fact that I'm explaining this a third time to you.
The problem is it's not 2 parts. It's just one word. It's Donastia is one word, and San Sebastian is 2 other words. So Donastia is just one word.
Okay, I see what
it's
you're saying.
Donastia.
I appreciate that you're now explaining to this to me the third time.
Because when you said it's Donastia, and you're like, no, but it's like
okay, no, because you keep saying the Donastia part in the thing I wanted to discuss was the San element, and you kept saying Donastia over and over again.
Donastia dash San Sebastian, which
I
is
think the problem there is that they didn't put a space in the dash. If it was Donastia space dash space San Sebastian, I would be saying San Sebastian instead of Donastia-san.
Yeah, no, it's Donastia.
Donastia-san, would you like to go for some tea later?
yeah, no.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I keep saying san.
Because it's san is short for santo, which is saint. That's what it stands for.
All right. Well, this is probably the only time we'll ever be talking about this town. So you've had your limelight in a thing where you've probably got a better tourist board than this. So, I think that's everything on my end.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I guess let's go ahead.
I'm looking forward to the last episode. I do like it, and it's one that I did not want to spoil when we're watching 79. But I think I don't think you might like it for. I think you might like it for lore reasons.
Well, it's
But they do make
Gentech
some
himself.
changes. But also,
Battle of Odessa,
what
right?
happened. Yeah.
But mainly the gun tank episode. Well, I'll admit too, I'm excited to watch this episode too, so that we're done with Gravity Front. Well, look,
But I don't know, story-wise, you're probably not gonna like it.
Look, Hidden 1 Year War, I put below Apocalypse because that's the initial development of those characters. You could argue that there's not a great difference between Gravity Front and Hidden 1 Year War, because that's also just characters that show up and die. And I alluded to the depth that Hidden 1 Year War had, and that, it's these characters that are having this I'm no longer in the world that not revolves around me, but I developed to be in, and I'm I am a product of the past, and being sent out to pasture, essentially. And you can make an argument that Gravity Well is the same sort of thing from the Federation side, except this is more of I'm a person that has something haunting me that I can't move past, and that's what I'm dealing with, and then dying in much the same way. And I don't like the element that we don't have the framework of characters that don't die that we are invested in. Colmata is a grinning fucking idiot sending people to his death. To their deaths, rather, that we don't spend any time with. Like, May and Cadillac are our perspective characters in the first two arcs. Yeah, to the point where I grow attached to them. Like, May bucks the fuck up and figures out where his position is by the end of the war. Cadillac goes through an emotional arc where she becomes disillusioned with everything. Colmata's like, just sent a whole squadron out the other day, and that's fucking half of our forces, but hey, you get your white whale. Even if this other guy thinks you're unfit for command. He don't fucking care. In fact, he's doing a Durandal the whole fucking way. Isn't that right? You better go get him. It's like, what the... I don't care about this guy.
We have reserves, basically. We have more people coming to the pilot, so I don't care.
No, legit. He says we lost half of our forces. You go take the other ones to take out that one thing. It's like, yeah, okay. And then Barberry, you're like the last one left who's trained in this. Literally, we've got other people that are trained for 2 weeks, and then Barberry himself says, "Oh, that's like one less week than the last guys you sent me." So it's not that we have reserves. He's literally just sending everyone out in an abaquo. Really, he's doing at the start what they do at the end, but he's not charismatic. He's not interesting at all. So I got nothing to follow on him.
Jackass. He's a jackass.
That's what I said. It's the inverse of what made the Hidden 1 Year War good. So yeah, I'm excited to see this over with so that we can move on to something really good. Because I think we can both agree that 8th MS Team is...
it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's top notch. Well, I don't know. I don't know a lot of the other properties. There could be a lot better stuff than 8th MS Team, but coming from Gundam Wing to 8th MS Team, it's good. To my memory.
Yeah.
All right. I don't remember if I've said it yet or not, so I'm just going to say it again. Let's go ahead and hop on into it.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
That's what sexual harassment looks like.
地球連邦軍のジオン公国軍に対する反撃ののろしはまずヨーロッパから上がった。
This is what the consequences of sexual harassment look like.
A song.
I don't like the look of this. I almost made a note about the conceit that they didn't have to make a gravity front. I don't mean the show. I mean, they didn't have to make that either, but I mean, they didn't have to make a gravity. They could have bombarded the Earth from orbit just constantly. Yeah, right into a nuke. Arguably one of the greatest commanders of Zeon ever had, that Tamino thought the death of was not important at all. Let's disagree with Tamino, I guess that's all I have to say. The visionary that I am.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they've had...
fighters.
Yeah. The outside shot of the entire Battle of Odessa that we got from the OG Gundam.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about it like this is it actually shows you the battle, right? In far more detail. Also, they're putting GMs here, but in the original 79, there were no GMs.
Well, we wouldn't really know. We were surprised. We were surprised to see them at Jaburo, but that doesn't imply that they weren't anywhere.
Yeah.
I am slightly developing a chronology of the months based on the shows that we watch and where and when things happen. It's entirely possible that GMs existed. They just weren't, you know, present for our main characters to see. That was McQueeve's carrier, not Big Trey, I think. When in doubt, the goofier looking ones are typically Zeon.
Yeah, the more bulbous ones. Oh, that's the Iron Storm.
We didn't design anything for gravity.
But we're gonna see this again. And talking of which, the asshole.
Because, I mean, the one element I wouldn't call him a jackass for is he literally just lets everybody run off to their deaths because they want to.
Yeah.
Well, except for Barbary, actually. Never mind, he is a jackass. Barbary was trying to get out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, gun tanks. The element that we saw core fighters flying past, I was hoping that maybe they were going to see the Gundam, or a CGI Gundam walking around. Or the white base flying past, something. Really gives them a lot more scale than Origin did. I know they're not exactly the same things, it's just...
They have that reputation. I do like the design, though.
Oh yeah, because they've only got one cannon. The ones in Origin had two. No, go ahead, do it.
戦闘終結後、特赦が出るようにせいぜい励むことだ。明日、我々はこの膠着状態を脱すべくジオンに総力戦を挑む。I
was almost going to say how much you want to bet that Clamato dies by the end, but you know, so I can't bet with you.
たとえそれがガンタンクとやらでもな。我々が遅れたのも ヨーロッパのあちこちに駆り出されたからだ。囚人兵がモビルスーツに乗れるだけでもありがたく思え。因数外の女に率いられた小隊など脱走を図れば背後からでも撃つ。
I can't tell if he's being misogynistic or not.
あいつは果たして
Is he calling out her as a woman or a prisoner?
He nearly hit his pants there.
Yeah, maybe he's not the death god I thought he was.
No.
It's the element that the death god also came out of a shot down Zagaka. I can't remember the names of things anymore. The more of these names I try to remember, the more all made up they become. Don't know why. Better than your fucking tanks. Yeah, almost twice Azaku's cannon.
Maybe we thought it was too expensive to be able to reproduce. They went with the GM instead.
I mean, that math has to equate out to like, is this thing worth 12 tanks? Because that would be the math I would have to think. Yeah, I also got it wrong at the beginning because I thought he was the one in the jail cell. Well, he's dead, and she's the one getting revenge for what happened to him. Blah, 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 blah. We know how this goes. Show us the Battle of Odessa already. That's what we're here for. Yeah, kind of like last episode where the other guy said he heard another voice in his head. Speaking through him. Sorry, I'm laughing because Gravity Front is the Macross 7 of Gundam. Should be for
It's
you.
a little more serious.
Is it?
Not really.
They're seeing fucking ghosts lessons. They're talking to ghosts. Last
That
episode,
is
the
true.
dude was half possessed by it because you heard this one's voice talking as he talked. And he said, someone else's voice is making me say things. I don't... Nothing left inside me but the spirits within.
It is the goofier, definitely. So I guess it has. But then again,
Here's what I'll say. The only way this is earning any points with me is if by the end we see Caecilia, and Caecilia says, oh yeah, remember that time we dropped all those psychotropic drugs on everybody when we landed back in March? And this is just all of them. They're having weird-ass trips and visions.
the exaggerated animation. Let's put a lot of emphasis on the.
I mean, really, that would bring it all back for me. That's what's happening here. None of this is supernatural or anything.
Yeah. I mean, come on. We do have 79 has a lot of weird stuff at the very end as well.
Look, we spent a lot of time developing new types.
Yeah.
I mean, not enough, but I mean, we spent some time on it.
Yeah.
It's hard to like bring something new, like the gods are real in Gundam, right?
Mm.
And they can possess you and distract you in the middle of a fight. Also, they take sides in the war. Does the Death God's fucking with the people on Earth? So I thought that was Big Trey.
No.
Well, the fact there was a bunch of them behind it. It's like, no, that was not singular.
Tally-ho is when you see the enemy, idiot. It's not just because you feel like it.
I have to assume they see the enemy.
No, remember the Minatsky particles don't let you see it.
Nazi particles don't stop you from seeing the enemy. So I mean, I'm assuming that they're targeting something, they're not firing for effect. Because otherwise they're risking shooting who they're sending in the front. That's the one thing I do appreciate from Gravity Front. The use of smoke and everything. Especially when you have Minovsky particles affecting targeting and whatnot. They did it last episode and they're showing it off here too.
Oh, look. Well, there you go.
Ah, that was too quick. Put that thing on a 30-minute timer.
Yeah.
Actually, that would work well, putting it on a 30-minute timer here in the battlefield, because what would you do? Would you run back to your own line with the explosive until somebody gets it off, or...
Keep attacking, I guess.
It would certainly, yeah, distract the fuck out of you. Though I will argue that they put it on the head of the GM, which would do nothing if they blew up. Oh, hey. It's the counter to our Hidden 1-Year War tank. So that one had hands, this one's don't.
Oh, that was a kill.
I miss when Zaku's used to explode in a nuclear fireball.
Don't kill still, you assholes.
Well, conceivably, that guy could have saved himself. I keep thinking it's Big Trey, which made me think, oh, it's a plane coming in. It must be that spy we all know. Oh, what's that? Rebel has a complete disregard for his frontline forces? Who would have guessed? So you know he'll be commanding you to march into a possible nuclear firebomb. So I'm guessing framed?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that explains how he landed in a plane like that.
Yeah.
Because they seem to be on Federation side, so...
Yeah.
And it would explain why they didn't question him flying back from the Xeon side, because it would just be a scout plane like that one.
Yeah, recon plane.
I enjoy when I self-exposit. Because I already know all the information, but I gotta make sure that I know the information. Out loud.
Yeah.
How else would I know? I tell you what, I might die as a Zaku pilot, but I'm not going to die doing this. I at least point my gun up and try and maybe shoot one down or something. 1 in a million shot, but who knows? So I'm saying the guys on the ground do it with regular guns. Why don't the Zaku's do it? Oh, that's uncalled
Oops.
for.
Is that super napalm?
It's napalm. I doubt it's super napalm. Okay, you deserve to die.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, don't in the middle of the battlefield, you know, go around it, think it's a mine.
The emergency destruction system is now activated.
I appreciate it's in English for some reason.
Will detonate in 13 seconds.
Also, I appreciate it sounds like Half-Life, right? Like the announcement from Half-Life. Well, I'm gonna take you with me, bastard.
Yeah, I guess GLaDOS wouldn't be a thing yet.
There's your nuclear explosion, I guess.
Nah.
Not really.
このために我々は
It seems like they only did that for like the 1 to 2 times, and then we fixed that problem real quick.
I do like the this is where the CGI really shines because it's, you know, the speed of the battles and all that.
Yeah, we specifically covered it. They're not good for full body humanoid stuff. They're good for this. Also, I'm guessing that's not McQuee's ship. That's just another ground ship.
Yeah.
I mean, not super great that your weapons design is best used in a suicide mode.
今撃ってくるのは
Oh, there's 2 of them.
That's what I'm saying.
もう一隻いた
Just ground ships. I don't know what the size difference is between these and the command one that McQueen would have, or Big Trey versus the other ones.
仲間たちの
The Betray is a Federation type.
That's what I said. Big Trey and the other ones, as opposed to the Xeon ones.
Yeah.
手を出すな無傷の敵をなぜ
これは司令部命令だ。命令違反には容赦しないぞ。
なぜなぜだ
言うこと聞け。
ここで潜んじるとこれまで生き
Also, everyone gets super close to their cameras in these.
失われる目指せ私を信じるか戦いを司る私を
Also, she wears the same kind of makeup that Cadillac did.
Yeah.
卑怯者は影で笑うものだ
おい、アリーナ注意。覆面しろ。答えんか。敵モビルスーツもどきは策略を大量に搭載の模様。近づけるな。奴は神風だ。
またや
I'm guessing maybe this is these people are under the command of I want to say Enron. I can't remember his name. Ellen? Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That maybe they're being told not to destroy it because he's trying to hold them back a little bit before he gets captured. I mean, that makes sense to what we know. Welcome to Doms.
Yep. Damn. That looks nice.
But it's armor. It's got an armored core. You're taking the ground ship thing too far. Well, it had land depth charges. It's just weird.
I mean, they're mines.
They weren't mines. They were even in the shape of depth charges. It'd be a real shame if it just, like, turned to the right or the left. Again, could have just turned.
It's a big one. I don't think it could have turned.
Well, conversely, then run it over.
No, they don't want to run it over because
it's got to self-destruct and everything. Yeah, but everything else they've run over hasn't blown up, so clearly there's something that has to be activated to be destroyed to cause the explosion.
This is the part that sucks.
It's the guy. The guy's a defector. Again, it's real easy to fucking read this show.
Yeah.
私の全てを奪い去った男の声を
待て聞いてくれ今戦闘は停止している
手のいい命乞いかそうやってなおもまた私を
信じられないよまさか君が生きていたとは
ええあらゆる屈辱に耐えて生きてきましたとも
決して君を欺くつもりはなかったんだ今でも僕は君を
Fuck you, I'll feel feelings later.
The emergency destruction system is now activated. 441st will detonate in 15 seconds.
Yeah, just hold that up to the mic. But you're
I
not.
don't think it.
未来を断ち切られた者の裏に
違うんだありえる
Actually, didn't
Well, I
seem
don't
like
like
it
it,
did
but
that much. Didn't seem like it did that much. It lifted it off the ground a little bit. Oh, is she the Zeon god of death now? Or is she the gravity god of death? Oh. We didn't know how to animate it actually destroying, so we just kind of gone from one scene to the other, where it's destroyed after the fact.
私は生きている魂が尽きる最後の灯火が聞こえるかあえて裏切り者
It's her own face. She is the goddess.
I just said that.
情報を連邦に流し続けた男の声
Although, to be fair, I would not recognize it the same face.
新たなタムネには手を出すな
無傷の敵をなぜ
これは試練の例だ
このままでは私は終われない
That's a weird pivot.
誰か
Another member of the team committed suicide. I think that's what it's. You should remember, she's the one that survived when the ones who got arrested.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's a weird pivot. Just
Yeah.
show that now instead of before.
引き合わせよお前の魂と引き換えお前は
Again, I'd prefer if they were all just fucking crazy due to psychotropic drugs.
最後を悟る者覚えぬ者
Is this Zeon leaving?
Yeah.
Because I know they only had anywhere from 1 to 7 nukes, depending on what movie or show you want to go with.
我敵を射程距離内に捕捉殲滅戦とす
I don't think you can hurt the ghost.
I think they're attacking whatever's left of Sia.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying I don't feel any threat to her because, one, I don't give a
No.
shit about her, but also, two, She's a
She's
ghost.
already dead.
Yeah. In which case, whose perspective are we in? Because I don't think ghosts are real. Like, in this universe, I don't think ghosts are real. I don't expect to see... Well, there was that one new type who was a force ghost.
Mhm.
I'm going to put this into the we don't know if we're going Esper's new type the situation.
Yeah.
We don't know if we're going to go ghosts are real. This is us exploring the space. But not actual space. Just the space.
Yeah.
Nope. Don't like it. This was in fact just
I do
a
like-
deep cover operation by Cassilia's forces to test drugs on Federation officers.
Uh,
And this is the result of what happened to 3 of them.
you were saying those drugs would wear out eventually.
No, they could have caused permanent brain damage. So, again, that's the element of Hidden 1 Year War and Apocalypse. We're still grounded in reality. They didn't introduce something that was weird and out there. Like,
Yeah.
you could have done more new type stuff. That would have made more sense. We've established it's a thing.
Yeah. But I do like the stories of the characters. If you take away the whole ghost phantom thing, you don't need it to tell those stories.
Yeah, but they're not
Right.
good versions of themselves.
涙さえ重力に惹かれ地獄の門は未だ閉じず
Okay.
So now I was trying to think of comparisons in my head. Because again,
Uh-huh.
one was just Moby Dick, but in Gundam, and I feel like you could have done that a lot better.
Hmm?
Barbary was a thing. I mean, it's not in Barbary's episode wasn't essentially bad. It's just I wasn't connected to it at all.
I mean, I like the fact that these guys were the desperation, the fact that they, this is one tiny battle and a much larger, conflict. Right? I did like the designs of these gun tanks.
But again, I like
Pretty
the
cool
other one
battle.
that we saw in Xenon more. So
Hmm.
plus that guy, you had a feel for because he had PTSD, and it wasn't like over the top like Barbary's was. I mean, I'm
The
not
only
like
thing
making.
I don't
wait,
like
hold
is-
on. I do want to explain myself real quick before I get shit. I'm not comparing and contrasting or belittling anybody's PTSD.
Mhm.
One guy had the shakes and like a social stigma due to it, and it was well acted and played. I felt like, whereas this guy really suffered from the element of the CGI.
What I would say is that part I didn't like, because I can ignore the whole ghost thing. It's supposed to be like, oh no, it's supposed to be a supernatural dimension. Yeah, it doesn't add anything to it. It kind of detracts from it. Is that, oh, I confronted this guy and he's like, oh, I not only have the radio frequency to talk to you, but guess what? I know who you are in that tank. Please don't blow up yourself. Of all the people, it's like, oh, is it you? I mean, what about to the other 2 gun tanks that got blown up? She could have been in there, even if you're guessing that she was a member of the team, right? So it happens that this particular gun tank was the one that she was in,
I mean, I'm not bothered by the element of how do you have this radio frequency, because we frequently have that problem. Are they all communicating with each other at the same time? It seems like everyone's always open broadcasting, so not a huge concern over that. You're saying you're not bothered by the ghost element, but that's the problem, is that what I say I enjoyed about Hidden 1 Year War and Apothecary Diaries, those 2 things that I watch,
Yeah.
the Apocalypse 79 and Hidden 1 Year War, is the connective tissue. And the only there's 2 connective tissues here. One is a ghost, and one is Kalmata.
Yeah.
Which one do you like more? Because they're the only things that carry over from episode to episode.
Yeah. If this is supposed to be one unit. If they had other members of the unit, and these were people that were, that keep going like the command staff, like shit, we're losing more people, stuff like that, then yeah. But
Also-
we don't have that, so
Another element that's complete bullshit, just so you know I'm paying attention. In episode 1 of Gravity Front, we saw one of the fighters flying by. It gets shot down, and that's the ghost that becomes the death god of Xeon. The one that
Apparently, yeah.
falls from the flight plane. But how can it be her if this is her? As you just indicated, they're the same person. So that also
Yeah.
can't be true. So it has no logical consistency.
yeah, they went wacky with these last 3 episodes. I think what they wanted to do was show the Earth side of things, but they didn't know how to do it. And it's like, oh, I guess we'll throw in some, we have hair effects. Let's give a ghost very long hair and animate the hair and spend all that resources on animating all this, floating cloth, like she's drowning or something.
I mean, I don't have a
Yeah.
problem. Again, I don't have a problem with the animation. I went to the theaters to watch Final Fantasy Spirits Within. I liked the
Yes,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with the CGI effect. I have a problem with the narrative and storytelling. That's where my complaint lies. It's not a good story. It's the same twist. It's the same twist twice. And this new twist, which was, I will say, you said you were disappointed with it.
Mhm.
I found it actually was slightly more interesting than the other 2 twists, but not to a significant degree, and not one that elevates the rest of it in any way.
Yeah. It could have been a much more interesting twist, but I guess it just, if this had been something being working through 3 episodes, right? Her story, then sure, but it wasn't. So if they picked one of these stories and made it a 3-episode arc, yeah, it would be cool.
That's what I'm saying. They needed connective tissue. Something that developed over time. Like, as you said, if you used her, like, I don't know how you would do it, though, because you're trying to use the Death God for everything. And you can't, the problem is the Death God motif is a connective tissue, but it doesn't make any fucking sense. Unless she was a new type. I mean, I don't, and that's never shown.
No mention of new types here. So
Well, because I mean, if we were going to do the, God, what was her name?
Who?
Char's girlfriend.
Lala?
Yeah.
Lala?
If we were doing a
Mhm.
Lala thing, but, because I mean, God, the implications of that is just, I don't like. The problem that we had at the end of Lala existing beyond her own death and being in Amuro's head and everything, it's like, this doesn't make a lot of sense. Also, all the other new types that we've seen die didn't do this. Is it like the Obi-Wan thing where only a couple of Jedi become Force ghosts?
Mhm.
Or by the end, all of them?
I don't know.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because the new Star Wars stuff, they all just fucking show up at the end as though, oh, we were actually all Force ghosts, really. We just didn't want to talk to you today. Yeah, because if all new types, because not all new types are the same either. Like, it's like Magic the Gathering, right? Where you have planeswalkers have a spark, and the spark awakens slowly over time. So, or actually, it doesn't awaken slowly over time. It's just, but not all planeswalkers have the same level of spark. Not all new types are like Chalia Bull is not Lala.
Yeah.
They are not the same.
Yeah. Mhm.
So, I don't know, because for me, the only way this has any bearing moving forwards, well, one, it does give us timeline of events of things that happen on Earth. So, informationally, it's good. But otherwise, what does it do? Other than establish that maybe new types are Force ghosts. That thing we were making fun of is actually a thing. And that in the future, we're going to have to deal with a bunch of dead people floating around and literally possessing people. Like, imagine if we're like watching a show and we're like, that doesn't make any sense. Why do you do that? Well, maybe Chalia Bull possessed him and he's getting revenge for a thing. Like, now I'm going to have to think of character motivations as any dead character in the past doing something. Well, you know how I said this guy could have been a new type? Well, if he's dead and he's taking over this character, and this character does know this other guy, 6 degrees of Chalia Bull, like, he didn't know this guy, who knew that guy, so maybe he's taking revenge against his cousin's best friend's nephew to get back at that guy who killed him, or killed a guy that worked under him that one time. How vengeful are ghosts going to be in the future?
Yeah, they're doing the Danny Phantom effect.
I didn't watch Danny Phantom. I don't know anything about Danny Phantom other than he's got a hot sister.
Okay.
I don't know. The internet
don't know.
is a lot of fanfic of people. And I know that there's a character in Danny Phantom that people did a lot of fan art for. I don't know anything about the show, though. There's an era of cartoons that I don't know anything about, which is probably 2000s and forward.
So yeah, this was the last of IGLOO. Not the strongest note they could have ended with. I think they could have gotten rid of the whole ghostly thing and concentrate on at least one character.
I appreciate at
And,
least they
you know.
separated from the start. This is IGLOO 2. IGLOO is perfectly fine. IGLOO is great. IGLOO 2 sucks ass. But hey, we're not done with the CGI yet, though. It's not the next thing we're going into. We have Requiem for Vengeance in the future.
Yeah, which is also CGI, but it's 2020 CGI, so I guess it should be a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm just saying we're not done with CGI.
Yeah.
And hey, as I understand it, I think Requiem for Vengeance also focuses on the Xeon perspective, which I'm always more interested in.
They're hunted down by the Gundam,
I don't know.
apparently.
Again, stop reading shit lessons.
I saw the trailer, so
Yeah, so did I. I don't believe it had any words in it.
no, people were talking.
Also, that was a long time ago. And as I said, the only defense I really have against spoilers, or things that I
Big
should
time.
already know, is forgetting them.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I think, same as yours, my life is really busy these days with a lot of really other important shit, which is thankfully good enough to start pushing stuff out, like math and spelling.
Okay, sure. Forget trigonometry. I never learned it.
You
to
mean
begin with, so,
arithmetic?
Yeah.
No, I mean, really, though, because I was saying the other day, I do a lot of Google Sheets and everything like that, so it's good to be able to macro simple math so that I don't have to do it myself, in which case I just forget how the simplicity of doing it in my head. Or the studies that they do, if you have spell check on hand constantly, you just become worse and worse at spelling words because something is doing it for you. Yeah, so that's a problem that I've been getting lately. It's like, I used to be really good at just figuring shit out, now it's just like, I'll just type it into a Google search and Google will figure it out for me.
Yeah, Google search and grammar rules. I used to know them by heart, but yeah.
Yeah, well now I'm Grammarly. By the way, we're not sponsored, but I'm joking. I did that in the Macross the second movie edit. When I made that joke about NordVPN, I put NordVPN on the front like it was doing that, and then did like the record scratch static cut. No, I'm just joking. All right, well, I think that is it for IGLOO. I guess what we'll do is we'll add the IGLOO characters into the 8th MS team thing whenever we go and rank them, because there's only 12 episodes of 8th MS team plus a movie plus an OVA.
I only watched the 12 episodes. I don't remember the OVA or the
the OVA I think is like 5 minutes or something like that. It's not that long.
Yeah, or the movie was just the finale. I don't know.
I did never watch the movie, so I just know I got Miller's Report and Fighting in 3 Dimensions or Battle in 3 Dimensions. I don't know what it's called, something like that. Either way, it's very little content. Might be, I don't know, double the amount of characters we would have gotten from IGLOO, to my recollection. So we'll put all that together, and then after that, we'll move on to the next thing. But other than that, that's it for here. So once again, I've been Theta. This has been Lessons. We've been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?